lovely simmers, SimsEclaire here and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are building a tree house. So I haven't built one of these on my channel specifically, but I actually did build one of these quite a while ago. I think it was at the end of last year, and I was just kind of playing around with things, trying to use the debug menu. I had just learned what cheats were when building in The Sims, so I had just learned about like move objects and stuff like that. So I was playing around, trying to see what I could come up with, and I came up with this really pretty tree house. Now I didn't end up losing it because if some of you might not know, but right before I started my channel, I did have to get a new computer. My old one crashed. It was really old. I had had it for like 6 years, I think, 5 or 6 years, and it was a Mac. So we all know that Macs really are not supposed to last that long, and I used it to its I used it for school for many years, and I used it to play The Sims, and it wasn't, when I first got it, I wasn't playing The Sims. I didn't even own The Sims yet, so it wasn't supposed to hold all that much stuff in it, and then all of a sudden it was just like, you have no space on your computer, and then the computer itself needed to update, the game needed to update, I had other apps that needed to update, and it wouldn't let me do anything, even, like, it wouldn't even let me delete anything because it just kept having pop-ups that said all this stuff needed to update, but there wasn't enough space on the computer. So I decided just to get a new one, and now I have my new computer, and I have my channel, and everything is all fine and dandy. But on that old computer, I had quite a bit more custom content, and I used it to kind of build this really I don't even think I could pronounce that word. Anyway, this really nice, let's go with that one, modern tree house, and it had 2 bedrooms. It was for a small family, and I just really liked it. Now, it was just one building. I didn't have any connecting pieces to it because at the time we didn't have platforms. So I didn't really like how building bridges looked, but now we have the platform, so I decided to do interconnecting tree houses this time, and it does turn out to be another 2-bedroom, but it's 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and then like an entire kitchen, living, and desk area as well. So I was really excited with how this one turned out. They kind of look like little huts in the trees, especially at this point because I haven't changed the roofing yet, but they really do kind of just look like little huts. And I was trying to make it so some of this piece right here, the one on the far right, is 3 levels above the floor, and I couldn't get any, not stilts, wow, columns to go up that high, so I had to find a way to make it look like it wasn't just floating in the air. So what I do end up doing is sizing up this debug log. I think it's technically a burnt log from like a fire pit, but I end up sizing them up, and once they're sized up, they look like, I'm using them right here. Once they're sized up, they look like tree stumps, so I put 2 of those underneath of the building just to make it look like there's some trees in there. It's not just, you know, floating in the air. And then I used columns on the other 2 because they're just 1 level above, so it doesn't, I could easily place some columns under there. And then I'm going through the debug menu and I'm placing some Jungle Adventure vines and stuff around. Initially, I was going to just not, but I didn't think it looked like it was a part of the forest enough. I thought that it looked very bare and very empty, and so I decided to fill up the area around it and do some extra vinage and stuff on the tree houses themselves. And I do end up adding a little pond as well. You saw that in the screenshots. I made it look as though it was built over this pond of water. I really like to do that. I've noticed that in a lot of my builds, like my more nature-inspired builds, I put a pond of water. But I think that that makes sense because if, let's say someone was trying to live off the grid. This house does not function off the grid. There is no wind turbines or solar panels or anything. But let's say someone was trying to live off the grid. They would want to be somewhere near water because that it would be a source of, you know, water for their, like, to run through their house, like for their plumbing and stuff like that, and then it would be a source of water to drink, and it would be a source of water to, you know, play in, like have fun. So I feel like it just makes sense for builds like this. And then I also added these lily pads from Snowy Escape because these come with koi fish, so there's like koi fish swimming around. And then towards kind of the middle of the video, when I go into furnishing and everything, I do also end up adding a fishing sign, which also means that you can kind of see fish jumping up in the background. I wasn't sure if it was going to work because this is a pool, it's not an actual pond, but it did work. So your Sims can swim and they can fish in this, and it looks like it's kind of into the nature. Wow, I am so sorry. I don't know what is up with my brain today. I just did a voiceover before this for the video that went up on Wednesday, and I'm doing this voiceover right after, and it's like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I cannot talk today. I don't know what it is. I am so sorry. I haven't done a voiceover in a while. It's been almost a whole week since I've done a voiceover because I didn't have any videos. I didn't have a video go up Monday, as you guys know, because I had some stuff going on at work. So the last voiceover I did was for my container mansion home, which I finished on Monday. So, like, last Monday. So it's been a while since I've sat down to do one of these voiceovers. So I do apologize. I promise I'm not always this illiterate. But anyway, going on to actually furnishing this house, I did think that the Sims who lived here were really into nature. So I gave them a potting bench, a flower arranging table, that's what it's called, and some little garden pots that they can put their plants in. I also thought about giving them an area on the land where they could grow them, like, actually in the ground. And if you wanted to do something like that, like you wanted to give them a farming area, you could delete some of the plants, particularly the ones like right by the front here where that giant fern is on like the bottom right hand corner of the screen. If you deleted those, it would give you a nice little area that you could like fence in for a gardening spot, so that could be pretty cool. But I liked the idea that they kind of just built this into the forest. And then I also gave them a bug house and then a bee house as well. And then I placed the ladder. I really liked how this ended up looking. I didn't know if it was going to be functional, but Father Christmas did end up visiting this household on Winterfest right before I took the screenshots, and he was able to climb up that ladder. So if Father Christmas can do it, I think anybody else can too. But I placed the ladder against the tree, the debug tree, to make it kind of look like they had secured it to the tree. And I thought that that looked really cool. And then going into here, this is the kitchen and dining area. So it's a very small kitchen, but I think it works. There's no cabinets, so I just used these open shelves and I placed some clutter on them because I don't have any space to do clutter on the counter itself, because there is only one extra counter, and if you clutter it up it wouldn't be usable, and therefore the kitchen would not be functional. So I did want to make sure that I kept all of the clutter off the counters and up on the shelves. And I'm just placing some basic clutter items, you know, some things that I would usually be placing on the counters or like underneath the counters if I was using the Snow Escape stuff. So it's nothing too fancy, just some of the basics. And then I tried to use counters and refrigerators and stuff like that that look like they would be a part of this build. So I used the Snowy Escape refrigerator that almost looks like it's made out of wood, and then these base game counters. The stove is a little off because I don't really like using that like wood fire burning one, the one that does function off the grid, because I don't know if it's just my Sims or if it's me, but every time I have that stove in a build it sets on fire, so I try not to use it anymore, which is why I don't do a lot of off-the-grid homes. But honestly, I feel like I should do another one of those, because I haven't done one of those since we got the ability with Eco Life, or we got the updated ability with Eco Lifestyle, I should say, and they are actually a lot of fun to try and build. So maybe I'll try and do one of those next week, but I will not be using that stove. I might just not give them a stove. And then going over here is the little dining area. I gave them this cute little carpet from Cats and Dogs, and then I gave them the wooden storage unit from Eco Lifestyle. This one I usually end up putting in garages because that's where I think it makes the most sense, but in a build like this, just having those extra clutter items and then the shelf being as rustic looking as it is, I think that it kind of fits in with the style. And then going over here, I just have a simple chair and a table, just so in case someone wanted to, you know, sit and read, or if someone was cooking and other people wanted to sit and talk to them, it would be a nice little spot for them to hang out. And then I add some dog bowls. Now, after I added those dog bowls, I realized that the dog could not get up the ladder. So if you actually want to play with a dog in this house, you are going to have to add a staircase, or it's going to have to be a small dog, and so your Sim can no, because I can't carry it up the ladder either. Yeah, you're going to have to add a staircase. I wasn't thinking about that. I totally forgot that, you know, logically, dogs cannot use ladders, so I totally forgot about that, but it wouldn't be that hard to add a staircase. You could even add it to one of these levels as well, like put it off to the side here where I put that plant, and then it would function just fine. Your dog could get everywhere else. You just have to put the dog bed in this room here, which, I mean, it totally fits. It would work, because this is where the main bedroom is as well, and the bathroom. And then going into here, like I said, this is where the bathroom is, so I tried to make it as rustic and wooden looking as possible. I even used the swatch of this one toilet that we got with Island Living, and it's one of the lighter ones, and I'm pretty sure that these swatches are made out of wood. They look like they're made out of wood, and they added them in to match the rest of the Island Living toilet, like bathroom stuff that we got, so I'm assuming that they're made out of wood, just like those are wood and stone. But now we're into the master bedroom, and this bedroom has a double bed, and I do believe both sides are functional. I think I figured that one out because I did want to place side tables next to them, so I had to move the door around just a little bit and finagle that, but I do believe both sides are functional. And then a mirror, and I used this Realm of Magic painting, but I do end up changing that. I end up switching it out for one of the base game ones, and then I just move it to a different wall. I liked how it looked here, but I didn't like how any other pictures looked on that really long wall off to the right, so I decided that that picture was longer and so it would look better on that wall, so I did decide just to switch it. And then I added some curtains. I think this is the only room I put curtains in because it's like a bedroom, and it's the only bedroom that has a window in it, and I thought it'd be really weird if someone just could look into the bedroom. I know they can't technically do that in The Sims, but I thought it'd be a little weird. And then I'm going through and just picking out some more paintings. This is where I realized I was going to have a hard time filling up that wall over there, so I try out a whole bunch of different ones, and then I do end up just switching, so that way the Realm of Magic one goes up on that wall. And I use this laundry day thing hanging above the dresser area. And then going up here, this is where I end up putting the desk. So there isn't a computer in this build. You could easily add one. I don't clutter up the desk that much, but I do just give them a little spot where they could sit and maybe work on some homework, because there is 2 kids' beds in this build. And then I also give them an art easel, and I swear to you, these windows are the same color. I don't know why they look different. I can't honestly explain that one to you, but they are the same color. Oh, I also gave them this book clutter item from Cats and Dogs. Maybe one of them is like a bookworm. They really like to read. So that could be a fun storyline to play, but then you might want to give them a computer so that they could be a writer as well and help make some money. And then going out to the upstairs patio, this is where they kind of have like their outdoor living space. They have a grill and a chess table and like a little dining table thing. Picnic table, that's what it's called. Think, Emily, think. But, and then I add a couple of plants. I did definitely think they would be plant lovers. I thought about even adding some more, like, pots so that they could plant some more flowers, but I did decide just to do some of the non-functional ones. And then going into here, I used these seasons beds. Initially, I was going to go for darker woods, but I couldn't find 2 dark wooden ones that like matched as cohesively, so I decided to go with these 2 really matchy ones, and this room kind of screams fall, but I think that's why I like it so much. I really like how this room turned out. They don't get a lot of toys and stuff because it is a really small room, but they get the stuffed animal, and they get like the llama. I think I placed either the llama or the triceratops, and then the violin, so they definitely have a lot of stuff that they can play around with. And I do know that both of those beds are functional because there is a family that was technically living on this lot before I demolished their house, and they could both get into those beds. So both of those beds are completely functional. And then going over here, I initially started with this layout, and then you can see right now that I'm changing it. I think I do give them a little TV. I think I give them, yeah, the one from Eco Lifestyle, the one that, you know, breaks all the time and doesn't really function all that well and doesn't raise their fun all that much. But I thought, you know, with this being kind of like the kids zone up here, that they would maybe want a TV. And then I decided, instead of a coffee table, I do add a couple of more chairs just because this house can sleep 4, so I figured they should at least have 4 spots for people to sit at in the family room. That way they can all sit together. But besides that, that is pretty much it for this build, so I hope you all enjoyed this one. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye! bye.